Lovitz, you know him from the Saturday Night Live days, and you also have probably seen him a lot lately, as he's been a firestorm of controversy. Not quite Chick Fil A level, but nonetheless, it's been about you making a joke about Obama, and from there
I've never eaten at Chick Fil A. I can tell you that, but so I don't know. I've never eaten there, but I think gays should have the right to get married, But on the other hand, if
should gays have the right to eat chicken sandwiches?
Well, my point is that if McDonald's was owned by a Nazi, I'd still eat the fries.
There's a line.
Well, I'm just saying, if
there is a line somewhere you draw.
I don't know. I just think the guy was doing a religious interview, and the whole company's religious.
Right.
You're not open on Sundays.
I didn't know that. And then that's how he feels, and I'm like, all right, that's how he feels.
Right. Doesn't mean that some a gay bigot is making your actual sandwich. It could be just some kid back there who doesn't have even an opinion. Yeah. It doesn't need to go through the chain of command.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I do know this, though.
They make it more of a big deal with all the attention to it.
Absolutely.
If you just said, Glad just said, they go, what do you think of that? And they go, well, he's entitled, that's his religious belief, and that's fine, but we believe gays should be able to get married. And that would be the end of it.
Never be on discussed again. Basically.
You can't, convince people to change their feeling about that. My father always said, there's two things you can never argue, religion and politics. It's impossible.
Right.
You're not going to, I don't care what you say, I'm not going to change how I feel about my religion.
Right. Was there ever a time...
That at least.
Was there ever a time on SNL while you were there where there was some sort of group or something that was trying to pull some economic boycott of sponsors? Did you ever go through any of that? Because
the only thing close to that was when Andrew Dice Clay hosted the show. And Nora Dunn said, I'm not going to do it. And then she went to the press. And then the National Organization for Women jumped on all these places, And it was all about, they didn't know. It was really more about Nora, saying she didn't want to do it.
Well, let's talk about that. Because it's comedy. Lately, it seems one after another comic's been taking heat.
Yeah, I kept wondering when they were going to come after me. Or if they were. And then they finally did.
Were you surprised by the reaction you got? Because you're not known as a guy who just strictly does political comedy and who just constantly rips on politicians.
Well, I don't. The thing is, what happened is I started doing stand-up about 10 years ago, and I would start with my characters. I did it a couple of times. They didn't work. So I just started, I just thought, well, whatever I think is funny, I'll put in the act. So I didn't want to limit myself to be a certain kind of comedian. I just thought it'd just be me and my sense of humor. I made fun of George Bush for years, and I would say things like, he's so great that he's president because he's great for comedians because you don't have to write any material, you just quote him.
Right.
Because he would just say the stupidest stuff. I don't think he's stupid, but he would say the stupidest stuff. Because, some people say I don't speak good. He would speak well, and on and on. And I mean, literally every year there was a new book out of the stuff he'd say. I'd just get the book and quote it and make jokes. With Obama, who I voted for, and I thought he was really bright, he was harder to make fun of because he speaks well, he has a nice family, he's
not clumsy.
He's not clumsy, he's extremely bright. There's nothing really funny about him. He's kind of, and when he talks, everything is, he's not up, he's not down, he's right in the middle, he's calm. There's just nothing.
Not emotion.
He doesn't get emotional. So you're trying to look for something to make fun of, and it's whoever is president, a comic will make fun of. It has nothing to do with the person. It's just, I said, you always make fun of the boss.
Right.
You just do. That's your job. And so when he started saying anything about taxes and the millionaires and billionaires aren't paying their fair share, and some aren't, but most are, and I'm in that tax bracket, and he kept saying it, it just made me really mad. And then I was doing a podcast I have a comedy club, Jon Lovitz Comedy Club and Podcast Theater at Universal City in Los Angeles.
Nice.
You can look it up. Anyway, he started saying that, so I was doing this podcast with Kevin Smith, the director. He has a thing called Smodcast. He does all these podcasts. Anyways, and he goes, let's do it about your time on Saturday Night Live. So it's called the ABCs of SNL. Anyway, I'd been watching TV that night, and he said, and the president said it again. I said, it's not true, he's lying. And so it was on my mind at the podcast, and it was recorded in January. And I think after we did the podcast, I think I said to him, maybe we should cut that because I kind of lost my temper and went off. Anyway, he released it in April. And everybody went nuts about it. And I'm thinking, so what? I'm a comedian. I'm on stage in a comedy club. And if you watch me say it, did I mean what I say? Yes. Was everybody laughing? Yes. Did you kind of push the language because you're in a club to make people laugh? Yes. But do you feel that way emotionally? Is that how you feel about it? Yes. I'm not taking it back.
Yeah, right.
Normally you go, what a jerk for lying about this.
Right.
About, and I say, people that say it's America, go for it, do anything you want, and then you do. And then everyone's like, F
better
you.
Apologize.
And then I said, the best example of that was someone who had nothing and then went to everything. Is the president himself. I said, he's amazing. And I say it, but that wasn't the headline.
Right.
What
kind of headline is
he
that?
also said he's amazing. I also said I voted for him. So I felt like he was selling out a whole group of people just to get votes, which is what he's doing. To me, it's just so obvious.
But do you think that it's because a lot of people consider
I don't know why they're going after comics. Lenny Bruce went through this in the '60s,
but it's been a kind of a
and he basically lost his career over it, and he died, and he paved the way. In a comedy club, it's free speech. You can say anything. People come to the club to hear that. You can't be politically correct to be a comic.
You want to push
impossible. Well, it's not that you want to push it. It's just that's your instinct. That's why I'm a comedian. It's not like I said, gee, what do I want to do? I want to be a comedian. I was already funny, and then it fit my personality.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I want to do that. I like people that's how I think, too.
It kind of reminds
It's just natural for me. So if someone says, you can't say that, my instinct is like, oh, really? Well, now I have to.
Well, but even beyond politics, you look at Jay Cook made the joke about the Colorado movie theaters.
Right.
And then the next day, he comes out and apologizes. Next thing you know, his TV project is shelved.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Well, I think in that instance, it's too soon, and in the reality, he wasn't making fun of the shoot. He was making fun of the movie.
Right.
And so, but as they say in comedy, timing is everything.
Right.
He also, I'm friends with Dane. He's a nice, the week before he said it's horrible. My heart goes out to the victims.
Do you think people overreact way more now than they did 10 years ago to things, or is it the advent of the quick video that we get to see this stuff now?
Well, I just think they're going after comics, and it's fine with me. It just gets me more publicity, but that's not why.
That's not why you do it, right?
I'm not doing it to get publicity. I'm just doing my act.
Right.
And your act.
I made fun of Bush for 8 years, and I'd say, "What an idiot! What did I ripped him, and no one said a word."
Well, it's the Hollywood elite. You're allowed to.
But there is no Hollywood elite.
Well, that's
a
paint.
whole myth too. It's like none of those people. Nobody that work. To me, they're the people that work, in movies, and they hire you. And I know most of them, and they don't care.
You want money?
They care less. They don't care at all. No, that's right. They want to make money.
Yeah, right.
If you're going to sell tickets, you're in their movie.
Right.
If you're not, you're not.
Speaking of movies,
they'll hire you. If you don't, it's next.
Grown Ups 2, you're working on right now. Jon Lovitz with us, and he's got his comedy club in L.A. at the, what do they call it, City Walk?
Universal City Walk.
Universal
Studios.
Yep, absolutely. And if you want tickets for this weekend show, 980-321-4702 is the number to get a hold of the comedy club, which is a great venue.
They're going to be at the Comedy Zone.
Yeah.
And I would say, but if you think what I said about the president was bad, you should see my act. That's nothing. I make fun of everybody.
I hope.
Who's your favorite person to make fun of?
My favorite?
Uh-huh.
Bob Saget, probably.
That makes me laugh just that.
But I make fun of everybody.
Yeah.
To me, it's teasing. I'm teasing people. And the whole point of my act is it's wrong.
Put a room full of comedians together, they probably rip each other mercilessly.
Exactly. That's when I I couldn't say it better myself. Exactly.
Thanks very much, Jon Lovitz, with us, Matt and Ramona, 107.9 The Link.